So from the situation with the clinic the other day in California, targeting conservatism, targeting what we consider morals and rights, to what happened last night in DC with the attack and the murder of 2 people. Is the war on Christianity and conservatism and freedom and things that we have held so dear, traditional values, is it getting heated? Yes, I believe so. And who's to blame for it? We're going to talk about that today. Also, we're going to talk about what this got exposed. Now, all of a sudden, we're putting warning labels on things like we do on cigarettes, like we do on tobacco. The crazy thing is, the warning signs may be a little too late, because if you remember, there's been 5 years since this became in effect. We're going to discuss that story. Also, we're going to talk about the beautiful bill that just passed. One thing that everybody's missing, and Republicans, true conservative Republicans, should be up in arms about, this new law that I think can be used against you in owning land. Also, what about AI? There's a new policy that shows that states are going to lose rights compared to federal government in the pushes of AI. Are we really happy with artificial intelligence being ran by the federal government? What have they actually done correctly in our life? Now they're taking rights away from states and giving to the government. We're going to talk about all these stories and a few more crazy stories as we try to prepare, because all these deal with you, your sustainability, your freedom, and of course the rights of your family. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here. It is an absolute beautiful day on the farm. We are enjoying time again with our family, with our children, and of course with the things that God has given us, which is our farm, to grow our own food. Our goal when we talk about prepping and sustainability and homesteading, all that deals with making, hopefully, you better, to understand more wisdom, more common sense, to protect your family, and to do things more independently. Well, I think the war on us is even more than ever before. Let's talk about some of these stories that we discussed in the intro. First, let's talk about what happened in DC last night, and something we kind of hit on in California the other day. We saw the clinic attack the other day, the fertility clinic attack the other day in California. It was known that it was a leftist who believed complete and utter, no childbearing allowed, complete for the abolition of having kids. Now that is a crazy view when we think about it. But that was his view. Then we go to last night with DC. 2 diplomats walking out of a museum that was part of the Jewish coalition, that was part of the embassy of Israel, gunned down. The guy that did it was still, after the fact, after literally cold-blooded in these people, saying free Palestine. And on top of that, the most negative coverage is on 3 people right now in the media. Trump, Musk. Who would you say the third is? It's not Vance. It's actually Hedgeseth. Why? Because he's so open with his faith. For instance, you know, he started doing what he called house of prayer and trying to devote time in the Army and in the Department of Defense to people who want to express their faith in Christ. You wonder why he gets negative press? It's because he may be showing exactly what Christianity and traditional values actually mean. Now, why do I bring up these 3 stories? All 3 of these stories reference really conservatism, freedom, traditional values, but every one of those are an attack on our freedoms and traditional values. And what happens is when we all of a sudden allow the media and political pundits to literally throw, conservatism, religion, traditional values, faith, all under the bus, what actually happens is some people in their not right state of mind act upon it. And that's exactly what we've seen with all these cases. The attacks on religion, the attacks on Christ, the attacks on Israel, the attacks on freedom, traditional values with having children. I mean, the guy literally said he's against having kids. I'm like, do you realize you wouldn't be born without parents? That's how brainwashed we've made the people of America. I blame media and I blame politicians over this. I blame the people with R's behind the name. You know why? Because they're not really truly standing up for what we believe in. Let's kind of move on to the big beautiful bill. I want to hit on 2 things that our federal government is doing and this bill kind of allows. Do I believe Trump or the Republicans are going to use it for their for bad things? I hope not. But I want to mention 2 things that did pass that needs to be discussed, because I believe that, again, it's against traditional values, against freedoms, and Well, you be the judge. This is from Zero Hedge. It says, experts warn that Trump's big beautiful bill could codify big land grabs. Agricultural advocates and lawmakers are sounding the alarm this week that the proposal in the Budget Reconciliation Act 41001 contains language that would centralize local authority to the federal government regarding land use and land exploration. Now, I told you before, I'm fully for getting the goods out of our ground. I'm totally for rare earth minerals and understanding if they're under our ground, we will need to get them out. I'm understanding, of course, I want to grab the oil out of our area. The government is the biggest landowner in America. And then on top of that, then there's several big ag companies. Here's the problem. What this bill does open up is for oil exploration and for rare earth minerals to be explored. Here's the kicker though. What it also does is it does not put in a stipulation that you can't take private land. Eminent domain, and the fact that if they want to explore, they can literally, the federal government has a stipulation in this bill that will allow them the access to your land. So I love this land, I love my land, but it's my land. Now, do I want to help America out and making sure that if there's something that we need to get out of our lands that we can get? Sure. But it should not come at the cost of the person who's paid and grown and struggled to get this land that we all own. If your home is on this acreage, is your home on this farm, is your farm ran and it gives you freedom? Well, there's a stipulation in this bill that will allow for federal lawmakers and the federal government to be able to step in on your land in the name of exploration. It says property rights are under attack. The House Energy and Commerce proposal for the Budget Reconciliation Bill would override state laws that protect landowners' private property rights from being taken for a new carbon sequestration of any pipeline companies. Now, I want to say this. Do I believe Trump is going to take your land? I don't. But what happens with government, and this is where I want to make sure that we understand what happens with government, is we pass these bills with these small little contingencies, these small little regulations that sometimes we miss, that in good faith we may say, oh, we'll never use that clause, we'll never do that, that lawyer just wrote that in, that's just because of this one thing. But because of interpretation and because the way our government works, when the next power comes in, say the Democrats, and they want to pass a solar Green New Deal, or not a pipeline bill, but maybe a wind farm, and they said we need all this land because this is where the best sun is, they could use that clause. See, that's what we don't realize is these bills should be single item, single page bills. This is the thing we're voting on. This is the thing we're voting on. This is the thing we're not voting on. These are the things that need to be in here. Because when we add all these clauses, this could come back and bite us. So we're passing this beautiful bill that allows us to have better taxes. Great! But we're spending more, and now there's a clause in it that could be a land grab for federal government. Overstepping state law. But see, we didn't know that, did we? Because we didn't look at the bill and read the bill fully. Because we passed these bills that are 4,000, 10,000, 20, 30, 40,000 pages. And actually what we're doing is we're literally putting a nail in our own coffin, as in freedom. Let's look at another thing that just basically came across the federal government taking over rights from the state government. This is an article from a Substack that John Fleetwood wrote. He said this. He said, Congress to seize control of AI. States are stripped of regulatory power. Buried deep, here we go again, buried deep in the Congress 1,116-page One Big Beautiful Bill Act is a provision so sweeping, so dystopian, and so underreported that it's hard to believe that it even passed at all. Section 43201 of the bill, blatantly titled Artificial Intelligence and Information Technology Modernization Initiative. It doesn't just fund the federal government's full-scale AI expansion, it removes every state's right to regulate artificial intelligence for the next decade. Meaning this, if they deem it necessary for AI expansion, your state, your government, your personal freedom rights do not matter anymore. Now again, am I saying that the Republicans are sinister and they're looking to take over your life with AI? No. What I am saying though is we built a bill that has got hidden agendas in it by a lot of big players that probably most Congress don't even have any idea what they just signed. Because I promise you, not one, I bet you not one congressman, I'd love for you to poll your congressman, I bet you not one congressman read every line out item of that bill. And do I believe that we don't need permanent tax cuts? Yes. Do I not believe we don't need no tax on tips? I don't believe we need no tax on anybody, to be honest with you. But what I'm saying is, with the highlighted items we talk about, but what about the other 1,100 pages or 1,200 pages that we don't discuss? Now we see the fact that the federal government of some capacity could take over land for different expansion items. They're already the biggest landowner in America is the federal government. And they're saying that if they feel deemed necessary, they can take your land too. Now, not only that, we see another situation where now states are losing rights to the federal government when it comes to AI regulation and safety and authority. So now all of a sudden, if the authorities step in and say, we deem this necessary for the federal government in DC, the Congress, who's done everything perfect. Remember, they've been awesome. No, that's facetiousness. They've not done anything correctly. And now we're giving them more power. Not only that, we're spending more on this budget. The reason I'm against this big, beautiful bill is not because the tax incentives, not because the no tax on tips. Those are the good things. But when we get away from doing single line task things, then there's always hidden agendas. There's always hidden things in these bills. It may not be, quote unquote, your conservative congressman writing it, but it's your conservative congressman that's signing upon it because he doesn't know what he's voting for, because he just follows rank and file. The bottom line is, if we would start saying, okay, every one of these things are going to be voted on, I promise you, if they come up with a bill that says AI will be ruled by the federal government, I bet you it wouldn't pass, would it? I bet you if we did another bill that said the federal government can take your land for exploration, even though America is the biggest landowner already, America can take more of your land because that's what we believe is right. You believe that bill would pass? No. See, that's how government works. That's how they take advantage of us, is they write the little stuff. And then all of a sudden they can interpret that a certain way when they want to. And they say, oh, it's in this bill. See, it was right here. You just didn't know it, but your congressman voted for it. And what you're doing is you're losing rights as your Congress are supposedly passing bills that, quote unquote, help you. This is why we have to be very careful. This is why you can't depend on someone in Washington, D.C. to take care of you and your family. The reason I tell you to prepare and stockpile, the reason I tell you to be careful is because now the attack on religion, traditional values, and our Christianity and conservatism, like we talked about in the very first, to now seeing the freedoms of our libertarian views and the freedoms of, well, we own rights, we have land, we don't want to pay taxes, and we don't want someone overseeing us. Now we've just allowed the government to basically take that over. See, we missed all that. You can call me a fear monger all you want. You can call me a pessimist all you want. No, I'm actually what I am. I'm a true realist where I see things for what they are. When we start trusting man to do everything for us, then we will be let down. And that let down may be taking over certain rights. Right now, people are more delinquent in all their loans. People are more delinquent in all their credit cards. People are more delinquent in all their automobiles. People are more delinquent in even their mortgages. Basically what that is the reset, because what that is if you go defaulted on all this, basically who owns that now? Not you, the government, banks, and big players. Not you. So therefore, guess what? That's why you're seeing more cars that are rented out. That's why you're seeing more rented homes. That's why you're seeing people in debt up to their eyeballs, so they're needing government handouts, which is socialism. And that's why you see the freedoms of people gone, because they need the government to take care of them. Yesterday, I just told you about that yesterday, about the 60 to 75% of all individuals in America said they would be willing to see more debt and trillions stack up just to get a little ease right now. Meaning they would rather get the tax incentives now and let their kids and grandkids feel the troubles of piling up more trillions of debts. Do you actually believe that we're going to be able to pay our debts off ever? No, because we can't even find a Congress who are willing to cut the budget or quit spending on new programs. The big beautiful bill opened up $20 trillion more spending. Actually, $5 trillion, they said, more than what we would traditionally spend under some of the Democratic plans. Now, this is not a push against Trump or push against conservatism. What I'm saying, though, is what you better realize is your independence and your freedom does not come from Washington. It comes from what you're doing to take care of your family. The reason I'm up every morning milking cows and having animals, and it's funny because I had a YouTuber the other day like dog us out for actually being a grifter, for being a prepper. I literally raise all my own food, just put up 500 pounds of potatoes and onions, and I'm fixing to kill off 3 to 4 of these hog right here to produce food for me for a whole year. On top of killing a steer and lamb just the last few weeks. Do you believe I'm really the grifter, the one that's not prepared? No, I'm trying to prepare my family and let them understand by homeschooling, homesteading, and teaching my children sustainability how practices are, because I can't trust the government to fix that for us. This is not to scare you, but this is to tell you even the people with the R's behind their names are not doing anything else but making more problems for you. Go back and read those bills. Go back and read those stipulations. Then you actually say, are they actually working for you in Washington? Or are they taking a little bit more, chipping off a little bit more with hidden agendas all in these bills? You better prepare and be ready for it. Because the more you put your hand out saying, please help us, the more they're going to take from you. You don't believe me? Look at where we've come since the times of revolutions. Look at where we've come, where before we were at 2 and 5% tax, now we're at 30 and 40% tax, and we're just okay with it. It's ridiculous. Whew. Telling you, I've been on one this morning. I'm sorry if I'm ranting. I just don't want us to look at everything and say everything is perfect and great because we have great leadership now, and then what we don't see is the hidden stuff in them, in these bills. It's unbelievable. Last story, let's go through this. It says, this is from Leading Report. It says, FDA is now requiring Pfizer and Moderna to expand the warning labels on the thing that happened in 2020 to include dangers of heart inflammation in adolescents and young men. We talked about that for the last 3 to 4 years, and we were censored for it, we were ghosted for it, and all of a sudden truth is coming out. You know why it come out? When we were called people that wore tinfoil hats, you know why it's come out? Because we did our research. You know what? Not one of my family are affected by this thing. You know why? Because we did our research. You know who was affected? The people who just believe the government. Hook, line, and sinker. It's like reeling in a fish, buddy. They were caught. And now they're saying FDA is making them put these warning labels on it because of the dangers it caused. This is another story. It said that the Biden administration knew the dangers and kept it hidden in their own research. Does that make you feel better about the federal government? And we just gave them more power in this other bill. It's unbelievable, huh? Not only that, this was shared by Rob Schneider, who's funny, who's become a libertarian. But it says Trader Joe's and several other big players when it comes to meat. Organic chicken and organic meat sometimes are not as organic as you think they are. The same technology that they're warning you about right now, that FDA just warned you about, is now ending up in your foods. Why? Because they're trying to protect you. They're putting that mRNA just to make sure that you don't get the bird flu and the 2020 pandemic with COVID. These are the stories that you should be paying attention to. This is why you should prepare. I want to read this one little comment. And if this doesn't tell you exactly where we're at in the nation, then I believe you're probably not going to like my content, but on top of that, I believe that you're going to be the ones saying, man, I was wrong. Listen to this. This is from an article. It says, How to Destroy a Society. We make God a joke. We make food poison. We make dads optional and not important. We make politicians rich. We make money worthless. We're borrowing money like crazy. We make men and women compete instead of having places for men and women in a family structure. We make children hate their ancestors where we don't see the importance of where America has come from. We make trash on the internet free. We make music in hatred. We push rhetoric and allow the media to control the narrative. These are the ways that we destroy society. Every one of these situations I just told you basically talks about just what that is. If we want to destroy America, we're doing a great job of it. If we're wanting to save America, we're doing a crummy job of it, no matter if R or D is behind their name. What it comes down to is, what are you doing? The solution is not government. The solution is not Republicans. Solution is definitely not Democrats. We can't keep voting for the lesser evil. We need people who are wanting to make a change and wants to see America actually thrive. But until that point, because we can't make that difference, I can't go talk to the president, I can't go talk to the Speaker of the House, but what I can do is this. I can prepare by getting up early and watering my garden. I can prepare by trying to understand how to raise chickens or rabbits. I can prepare to know how I can grow grasses that actually are good for the ground. I can prepare by putting trees in the ground and growing fruit. I can prepare by making sure my kids get a good education, not indoctrination, but it may be homeschooling. I can prepare by making sure that we're in a great church that is actually believing in Jesus. I can prepare by making sure that I'm putting up food when I can't grow it, but I can put up good quality food. I can prepare by getting the crap out of our diets and actually having holistic diets. And the list goes on and on. My goal is this. Just pay attention. Watch out for what's really happening. Because they're saying this bill will pass. They're saying this bill will go through. They're saying all these agendas will keep on going within the next 2 or 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks. The war on traditional values, the war on freedom, the war on conservatism, the war on Christians, the war on the movement of liberty is happening, no matter what and who is in charge. Because the little things hidden in the bills are actually taking our rights away. Let me know your thoughts on today's video. God bless.